every so often we'll line him up with his hand on him. But he's going to be standing up more than he's down.
Nothing puts a kid on notice like comparing him to the best tight end in the NFL right now.
Well, I mean, that's what he wants to be, you know. And really and truly, I mean, you're talking about a kid that was offered by a lot of people. And one thing that the one thing that he liked about this place was that when he came and watched practice, Tyler was standing up more than he was down. And that's the one thing that excited him because he wants to catch football. And that's the thing about it. I mean, our deal is, you know, we're not going to use him as just a blocking guy. You know, we're going to get the ball to him. And we want to create matchup problems with a 6'6" frame. We're big, you know. So.
7 kids before, and then putting them behind Gino, Tavon, and Stedman, learning the system. That's got to be very beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, we played last year, I think 6 scholarship receivers, which, I mean, typically in our offense you have around 15. So we knew that we had to bring some competition in and bring some kids in. We had to stockpile a little bit, you know. And so, you know, and the point of the matter is that we have some pretty daggone good ones right now that are going to be playing next year. So if we can bring some kids in that can learn from those kids, then, you know, obviously we don't want to lose Stedman and those guys in a couple of years and then be left with nothing.
More planning than scrambling in this now.
Exactly. I mean, we're not really, I mean, these guys aren't going to have to come in and bear a huge load this year. I mean, you might have 1 or 2 that are going to make a good impact. But the bottom line is, I mean, these guys have to come in and learn. I mean, they're going to have some guys ahead of them that are good quality players. We just don't have enough of them, so we're trying to get more.
Winning a BCS bowl game obviously generates a lot of interest, but doing it in the way that you guys did it, how much did that help just in terms of getting receivers and skill position guys?
I think it piqued the interest. I don't know how much it helps. I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know how much it helps when it gets down to the end and the kid makes their decision, because I think sometimes kids are going to make decisions based on emotions at the end. But it at least piques interest. And so when you go talk to a kid, they know exactly, well, yeah, I watched that game, this and that. And so it piques their interest, and when you get them here, then you got to sell them and close them. But a lot of times at the end, kids are emotionally attached to a school that they've been fans with their whole life. And so you might lose out. You might lose out to that school just based on the fact that he has an emotional attachment. I mean, that school might not have produced a 1,000-yard receiver in the last 17 years, and we produced like 20. And then they might get him, you know, just based on the fact that he loved them growing up, you know.
So maybe it opens a door that wouldn't be open otherwise.
It does open a door, and it at least opens the conversation up. But, I mean, I think as far as getting them here, you know, I mean, you got to get them on campus, and you got to sell them the family of coaches and just the attitude, I think, is what seals the deal in the end.
Don't you usually get to spike the year afterward, though, after you have a performance like that?
Do what now?
Get to spike the year afterward.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, we went, you know, we left the bowl game. I mean, we were all on the road the day after, and we were excited to be on the road because, I mean, there were kids that really wanted to talk to us. You know, I mean, heck, I mean, they were those kids that were committed to us or on the verge of committing to us. They were walking proud with West Virginia hats on and shirts in the schools the next day. And so, you know, it does. I mean, you close strong. I mean, it's like a lawyer, you know, when you got that much ammo, you know, obviously we could close stronger than probably Clemson, but, you know, obviously in the end, Clemson's got a pretty good brand too. You know?
What about 13s, though, and beyond? That's where you really see it, don't you? On down the road.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if we put another one back to back, I think, and that's the one thing I told Tavon, those guys, I said the good thing about that bowl game for them is at the beginning of the next year, they're going to be on everybody's radar across the nation. That's going to help us more in the end because it's obviously going to pique more interest. We're playing in a bigger conference, and we'll have a bigger stage, and I think it'll help recruiting as it goes down. Will help a lot.
In this past year, how much of things recruiting-wise changed for you in Texas? Are schools starting to get to know West Virginia out there?
Well, I mean, right now in Texas, you know, Texas is not like East Coast. You know, kids are different. You know, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it. I mean, typically kids in Texas, they've already got their mind made up before the season even starts or midway through the season. Kids on the East Coast, you know, they want to do the whole hat deal, you know. And, I mean, you know, it's just maybe it's more media or whatever. I don't know what the problem is, but in Texas, if they're offered by one of the big schools in Texas early, they're going to go. And so I think we do a really good job of evaluating senior tape. You know, a lot of people make decisions on summer camp and on junior tape. We want to watch senior tape in those areas. That way we can see how they progressed from junior to senior, and we can, you know, and they might have fell through the cracks with some of these programs that have filled up quicker because they're evaluating junior tape and they get filled up, and that's what happens with, like, Dustin Garrison played on the state championship team, the leading rusher. Well, I mean, you know, we got him. He kind of fell through the cracks and didn't have a lot of in-state offers, and we got him. And that's typically what we're going to get out of Texas. Guys that have a really good senior year and play on a really good team, and they're kind of overlooked as juniors.